If that's a day, my dear learners, are you in for a fun learning experience? If yes, go get your pen, notebook, and module for Quarter 2, Week 5. First, let us have a short review of the previous lesson. For our review activity, you are going to analyze each sentence and identify whether the statement is a claim of fact, value, or policy. Number 1. Are we winning against the COVID-19 pandemic? Number 2. Following the minimum health protocols helps us to avoid contracting the dreaded virus. Number 3. Ginger tea is not a cure for the COVID-19 virus. Number 4. Lisa of Blackpink is the most gorgeous woman in the world. And number 5, we should respect each other's opinions. And these are the correct answers. I hope you got them all correctly. And for our next activity, I want you to identify the similarity among reports, term papers, encyclopedias, textbooks, and how-to manuals. If you think that they are all informative, you are correct. Reports, term papers, encyclopedia articles, textbooks, and how-to manuals are examples of expositions or expository writing, which is connected to our MELT or most essential learning competency for today, which is to write an exposition or a discussion on a familiar issue to include key structural elements and language features. And at the end of this lesson, you are expected to understand what an exposition is, identify the key structural elements and language features of expository writing, and write an exposition that is well structured and uses appropriate language elements. But first, let us define the term exposition. According to Cambridge Dictionary, an exposition is a clear and full explanation of an idea or theory, meaning it is a detailed and comprehensive description of a concept or notion. The purpose of expository writing is to give information, explain a topic, and or define something. Its root word expose exposes the readers to a new topic and points that exposition or expository writing is intended to enlighten and instruct rather than entertain. The main characteristics of expository writing are informative, clear, organized, impersonal, and unbiased. It is informative because the purpose of expository text is to provide information. It is clear because it uses terms that clearly demonstrate what the author is discussing. It is organized because it keeps the reader's attention on the topic at hand and describes events in chronological sequence. It is impersonal because it is written without emotion, because it is factual. It should also be written in the third person, that is, without using personal pronouns like I, me, we, us, or you. And it is unbiased because it does not expose the writer's own views. There are 5 types of expository writing: problem and solution, cause and effect, compare and contrast, definition and classification, and how-to or process. Let us discuss first the problem and solution. As the name implies, the writer defines the problem, offers information to explain it, and provides a solution or solutions to address it. He or she must provide adequate evidence to back up his or her idea and provide strategies to put it into action. The next one is cause and effect. In this one, the writer explains why something occurred and how it will affect something. The recommended consequences might be true or hypothetical, but the author must verify them. The next one is compare and contrast. The writer compares the similarities and differences between the two subjects in this form of expository writing. Only when the subjects are in the same category is this feasible. For instance, consider a comparison between internal and external evaluation. The next type is definition and classification. In this type, the writer gives a comprehensive overview of a topic, including definitions, types, and examples. It comprises terminologies with both concrete and abstract meanings. The last type is the how-to or process. This form of writing instructs the reader by describing a task and how to accomplish it. For easy comprehension, the writer may give step-by-step instructions. Cookbooks and manuals are examples of this type. There is no doubt that when it comes to transmitting information, content, and messages, language is essential. Hence, using its various features in the right way is too important because they provide meaning to communication and aid in content support. So, let us familiarize ourselves with the language features of an exposition. The first language feature is conjunctions. They join one part of a sentence to another. They link the flow of arguments. Conjunctions create cohesion and express cause and effect. These are so, and, because, therefore, if, but, for, nor, or, and yet. The next language feature is connectives. Connectives link ideas in an argument. The examples of these are first, for that reason, for example, as a sequence, because of this, and finally. And we have thinking verbs. These are what people think about a certain subject or topic. Examples of thinking verbs are know, believe, feel, and agree. Whereas the modal verbs, their function is to express the writer's attitude to the topic. Modal verbs are can, could, should, must, and might. The last feature is the evaluative language. Evaluative language suggests the degree of approval or helps compare ideas. Evaluative language as the voice of authority. The examples of evaluative language are important, best, most, truth, largest, and more popular. The use of these language features will help us to have an exemplary exposition. Specifically, it will aid in the development of a solid thesis statement. The thesis statement is the foundation of expository writing. It provides a sneak peek of your writing. It is the main point or the very sense of your essay. Now, let us proceed with the next activity entitled The Better Option. In this activity, you are going to read and analyze the choices to come up with a better exposition. Number 1. I think Palawan is the most picturesque island in the world, boasting clean and magnificent lakes, lagoons, and beautiful white sand beaches. Letter B. Palawan is the most picturesque island in the world, boasting clean and magnificent lakes, lagoons, and beautiful white sand beaches. Number 2, letter A. My favorite dessert is blueberry cheesecake, and I will tell you how to prepare it. Number 2, letter B. Blueberry cheesecake is a delectable dessert that can be made in just a few easy steps. Number 3, letter A. COVID-19 vaccinations are effective and can lower the risk of contracting and transmitting the COVID-19 virus. Letter B. In my opinion, COVID-19 vaccinations are effective and can lower the risk of contracting and transmitting the COVID-19 virus. Number 4. Letter A. A neighbor mentioned that there are 10 more Omicron variant cases here in the Philippines. Letter B. The Department of Health confirmed that there are 10 more Omicron variant cases here in the Philippines. And number 5, letter A. Tachycardia is a rapid heart rate of more than 100 beats per minute that is believed to originate in the lower chambers or the upper chambers. Or letter B. Tachycardia is believed to originate in the lower chambers or the upper chambers. And these are the correct answers. Now that you know how to create a strong thesis statement, it is high time for you to know the structural elements of expository writing to guide you in presenting your key points. I want you to take a look at this hamburger. Just like this ground beef sandwich, our expository writing has 3 parts: the introduction, the body, and the conclusion. The top bond, which represents the introduction, introduces the topic of the exposition. It gives an overview of what the essay is all about. This is where the thesis statement is usually presented. The beef patty stands for the body of expository writing. The body may consist of 3 to 5 paragraphs or more. Each paragraph usually begins with a topic sentence and is supported by facts, pieces of evidence, statistical information, and/or expert opinions. The bottom band symbolizes the conclusion. It sums up the whole writing or essay by paraphrasing the thesis statement. The essay may be concluded with a recommendation for further action, suggested solution, or new topics to investigate. Now that you know the key structural elements of an exposition, get ready for our next activity entitled Find the One. In this activity, you are going to identify what word or words are being described by the following sentences. You are going to choose your answer from the word box. Number 1. It symbolizes the 3 parts of the exposition. Number 2. It contains the summary of the exposition. Number 3. It is the purpose of exposition, or it is one of the characteristics of expository writing wherein the emotion of the writer is not exposed. Number 5. These words are used to express the writer's attitude to the topic. Number 6. It is where the thesis statement is usually stated. 7. It contains the supporting details of the thesis statement. 8. It is the type of exposition that compares the similarities and differences between the 2 subjects. Number 9. It is the type of exposition that explains why something happened and how it will impact something. Number 10. It is the pronoun that should be avoided in exposition. And these are the correct answers. I hope you got them all correctly. And to recap our lesson, an exposition is a form of oral or written discourse used to explain, describe, or inform. Expositions are informative, clear, organized, impersonal, and unbiased. Expositions have 3 parts: introduction, body, and conclusion. Expositions may present problems and solutions, causes and effects, definitions and classifications, how-tos or processes, or comparison and contrast between 2 or more things. And to have a strong exposition, employ language features such as conjunctions, connectives, thinking verbs, modal verbs, and evaluative language. And this is an example of an expository writing. als a lifesaver, early marriage,
expensive tuition fee, discouraging environment, family conflict, discrimination, bullying, poor health, socioeconomic status. These are just some of the factors why people do not finish their studies and or do not have education at all. These marginalized people mostly are jobless or do not have decent jobs. Their saddening plight is resolved through the alternative learning system or the ALS program. According to the website of the Department of Education, ALS is a parallel learning system that provides a practical option to the existing formal instruction. ALS is an alternative or substitute for those who do not have or cannot access traditional education in schools. ALS includes both the formal and informal sources of knowledge and skills. Benjo was once a balot vendor who acquired welding skills after finishing the ALS program. He is currently working abroad as a professional welder. He can now support the studies of his 3 children. Angel is one of those who are grateful for the establishment of ALS. As an ALS completer, she was able to finish her studies and is now a public school teacher. People who are enrolled in ALS acquire broad knowledge and understanding in a certain field. Hence, their employability increases. Having jobs will definitely improve their way of living, their community, and our nation. It is common knowledge that education is essential in nation building. Therefore, ALS is our economic booster because it does not only provide hope but also empowers people to build their own future.
Now that you know everything about expositions, you are now more than ready to utilize what you have learned. For your evaluation, you are going to write an exposition essay using the key structural elements and language features that you have learned. You are going to choose from these topics: K-pop craze in the Philippines, public health as everyone's responsibility, the 2022 presidential polls, and cyberbullying.
And you will be graded according to the criteria that were taken from the module.
That's it for today, my dear learners. Please remember this tip. Expositions are non-fiction, so evaluate your sources first before writing one.
These are my sources.
See you next time.